Mother demanded I share Grandma's inheritance with my lazy brother. So I refused and fought for what's mine. She brought fake witnesses to court. Your brother needs this more than you. But then unknown people started threatening. Well, let's go. My name is Adelize and I'm 46 years old now. But this story really starts when I was just 13. Back when everything in my life changed forever. I guess I should tell you about my family first. My real dad died when I was young. He was shot by some teenage drug addict who just walked up and killed him at point-blank range. I don't remember much about him, but my grandmother always said I had his eyes. My mom Miranda never got over losing him. She loved my dad so much that his death just broke something inside her. 4 years after, she'd drink herself into a stupor, and I'd find her passed out in the strangest places. The worst time was when I found her sleeping on a park bench in the middle of winter. I was walking home from school that day when I saw this huge crowd gathered around the bench. People were pointing and laughing. Some kids from my street were there too. And I knew they'd spread this all over school. They already picked on me enough about my dad getting killed. Now they'd have even more ammunition. "Hey, isn't that Miranda Castor?" one of them said. "Look at her just lying there like a bum." My stomach dropped when I realized it was my mom curled up on that bench, dead drunk. She was wearing the same clothes from 3 days ago, and her hair was a mess. People were taking pictures with their phones. I wanted to run over and wake her up, but my feet wouldn't move. Then this police officer showed up. He was tall with graying hair and looked serious as he walked through the crowd. "All right, everyone move along," he said. "Nothing to see here." He knelt down next to my mom and shook her shoulder gently. "Ma'am, you can't sleep here. Come on, let's get you up." I felt relieved that someone was helping her, but also completely embarrassed. The kids from school were still watching and whispering. I knew Monday would be hell. Mom woke up confused and started crying right there in front of everyone. The officer helped her sit up and talked to her quietly. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he seemed kind about it. "I need to take you home," he told her. "Can you tell me your address?" Mom mumbled our address and he helped her to his patrol car. I followed them home from a distance, not wanting anyone to see me with her. When they got to our house, the officer, I heard him say his name was Harlan Rogers, helped Mom inside. I snuck in through the back door and hid in my room. But I could hear everything. "Mrs. Castor, you have a daughter, right? Where is she?" "Adelize is around somewhere," Mom said. "She takes care of herself mostly." That hurt to hear, but it was true. I'd been taking care of myself for years while she drank. After Officer Rogers left, Mom completely lost it. She started wailing and screaming about how much she missed my dad. The sound was so awful, I ran up to the attic and hid behind some old boxes. That became my safe place whenever things got too crazy downstairs. The next day, Officer Rogers came back. He wasn't in uniform this time, just regular clothes. "I wanted to check on you," he told Mom. "Make sure you're doing okay." "I'm fine," Mom lied. We both knew she wasn't, but he kept coming back. At first it was just to check on her, but then he started staying for coffee, then dinner. Within a few weeks, he was there almost every night. "Miranda, you don't have to do this alone anymore," I heard him tell her one evening. "I could help you. Help both of you." 3 months later he proposed. I was shocked when Mom said yes. How could she want to marry someone else when she claimed to love my dad so much? "Mom, how can you do this?" I confronted her that night. "Dad hasn't even been gone that long." "Adelize, your father is dead," she said coldly. "He's not coming back. Harlan is offering us a chance at a normal life. But you said you'd never love anyone else." I was grieving then. People say things when they're grieving. I felt like she was betraying my dad's memory. Like everything she'd said about loving him forever was just lies. When I told my grandmother about the engagement, I expected her to be angry too. But Grandma Ellington surprised me. "Adelize, honey, your mom has the right to find happiness again," she said. "Your dad wouldn't want her to be alone forever." "But Grandma, she's forgetting about him." "No, she's not forgetting. She's just trying to live. There's a difference. 6 months after they met, Mom and Harlan got married at City Hall. I wore a dress Grandma Ellington bought me and tried to smile, but inside I felt like I was watching my mom become a stranger. 2 years after Mom married Harlan, everything changed again. Mom got pregnant and gave birth to my half-brother, Kaysen. I was 15 by then, and suddenly I wasn't just dealing with a stepfather who barely tolerated me. Now there was a screaming baby in the house too. Harlan made it clear from day one that having 2 kids was too much for him financially. "Mirinda, I can barely support 1 kid, let alone 2, he'd complain every time Kaysen cried. "And Adelize isn't even mine." Kaysen was the most difficult baby I'd ever seen. He cried constantly, day and night. When he got older and could walk, he'd throw violent tantrums over nothing. If you didn't give him what he wanted immediately, he'd grab whatever heavy object was nearby and hurl it at you. I got hit with toys, books, even a coffee mug once. "Kaysen, stop that," Mom would say weakly, but she never actually disciplined him. Harlan thought his son was perfect, though. "He's just got spirit," he'd say when Kaysen threw one of his fits. "Boys need to be tough." But when it came to me, Harlan had zero patience. If I left a dish in the sink or made any noise while doing homework, he'd go ballistic. "That girl is nothing but a burden," he'd tell Mom when he thought I couldn't hear. "She eats our food, uses our electricity, and for what? She's not my responsibility." The worst part was how Mom just stood there and let him talk about me like that. Sometimes she'd make weak protests like, "Harlan, she's just a child," but she never really stood up for me. When Kaysen turned 2, his tantrums got even worse. One day, he threw a wooden block so hard it left a bruise on my arm. I showed Mom, hoping she'd finally do something. "Oh honey, he didn't mean it," she said. "He's just little." "Mom, he aimed right at me. And look how hard he threw it." "Don't exaggerate, Adelize. Accidents happen." But it wasn't an accident. Kaysen would look me right in the eye before throwing things. He knew exactly what he was doing. That night, I heard Harlan and Mom talking in their room. "Mirinda, we need to make a decision about Adelize," Harlan said. "I can't keep supporting her. She's 17 now, almost an adult. What are you suggesting? Your former mother-in-law has always been fond of her. Maybe Adelize could go live with Mrs. Ellington for a while. You want me to send my daughter away? She's not adapting well to our family. Maybe she'd be happier somewhere else." I pressed my ear closer to the door. "I don't know, Harlan. She's my daughter. And Kaysen is our son. He needs stability, not a jealous older sister making everything difficult." Jealous? I wasn't jealous of the little monster. I just wanted to live in peace without getting things thrown at me every day. The next morning, Mom sat me down at the kitchen table. "Adelize, honey, I've been thinking. Maybe you'd like to spend some time with Grandma Ellington." "What do you mean, spend time?" "Well, live with her for a while. You love your grandmother and she has that big house all to herself." I stared at my mom. "You're sending me away." "No, I'm not sending you away. I just think it might be good for everyone if you had some space." "Everyone," meaning Harlan and Kaysen. Mom's face got tight. "Don't be dramatic. This could be a good thing for you. Does Grandma even know about this plan?" "I haven't talked to her yet, but I'm sure she'd love to have you." That afternoon, Mom called Grandma Ellington while I sat in the living room pretending to read. "Hello, Mrs. Ellington, it's Mirinda. I was wondering if we could talk about Adelize living with you for a while." I couldn't hear Grandma's response, but Mom's voice got defensive. "Well, it's just that things are complicated here with Kaysen being so young. Adelize might be happier with you." When Mom hung up, she looked frustrated. "What did she say?" "Yes. She wants to talk to you directly before making any decisions." 2 days later, Grandma Ellington came over. She hugged me tight when she walked in, then gave Harlan and Mom a look that could freeze water. "So, Mirinda, you want me to take Adelize because it's inconvenient for you to raise both your children?" "That's not what this is about," Mom said quickly. Then what is it about? Harlan stepped forward. Mrs. Ellington, we just think Adelise would benefit from a different environment. Different how? Well, she's been having trouble adjusting to family life with Kaysen. Grandma looked at Kaysen, who was currently banging a wooden spoon against the coffee table as hard as he could. I see, she said dryly. And you think the problem is with Adelise? Kids need to learn to get along, Harlan said. They certainly do, Grandma replied. But they also need parents who protect them from unsafe situations. Harlan's face turned red. Are you implying something, Mrs. Ellington? I'm not implying anything. I'm saying it outright. You want to get rid of Adelise because she's not your biological child and you don't want to deal with the responsibility. Now wait just a minute. Grandma held up her hand. I'm not finished. Adelise, pack your things. You're coming home with me. But we haven't decided anything yet, Mom protested. Yes, we have. I've decided. And unlike some people, I don't abandon family when things get inconvenient. As I packed my clothes, I felt relieved and heartbroken at the same time. Relieved because I wouldn't have to deal with Kaysen's violence anymore, or Harlan's constant complaints about supporting me, but heartbroken because my own mother was letting me go without much of a fight. When I came downstairs with my suitcase, Grandma Ellington was waiting by the door. Ready, honey. I nodded, then looked at Mom. She was holding Kaysen, who was trying to grab her earrings. I'll call you, she said. Sure, Mom. But as we drove to Grandma Ellington's house, I had a feeling those calls would be few and far between. Harlan had gotten what he wanted. One less mouth to feed, and one less reminder that Mom had a life before him. Don't worry, sweetie, Grandma said as we pulled into her driveway. Some families are chosen, not born. And you've always been my choice. Living with Grandma Ellington was like stepping into a different world. Her house was quiet, clean, and most importantly, peaceful. No screaming babies, no flying objects, no stepfather complaining about every penny spent on me. This is your room now, Grandma said, showing me to the guest bedroom she'd prepared. Make yourself at home, honey. This is your home now. I settled into a routine quickly. Grandma made breakfast every morning, asked about my homework, and actually listened to my answers. For the first time in years, I felt like someone cared about what happened to me. Mom called occasionally, but the conversations were always awkward and brief. How are you doing, Adelise? I'm fine, Mom. How's Kaysen? He's good. Growing so fast. Harlan got a promotion at work. That's nice. Well, I should go. Kaysen needs his bath. And that would be it. No asking when I might visit. No saying she missed me. Just updates about Harlan and Kaysen like I was some distant relative. When I turned 20, I met Dorian Hale at a coffee shop near the community college where I was taking classes. He was 25, charming, and paid attention to me in a way no one else ever had. You have beautiful eyes, he told me on our first date. They're so expressive. Dorian was everything I thought I wanted. He brought me flowers, took me to nice restaurants, and told me he loved me. We dated for 3 years, and I was completely in love with him. Adelise, will you marry me? He asked one evening, getting down on one knee in Grandma's living room. I said yes immediately. Grandma seemed happy for me, but I noticed she didn't look as excited as I expected. Are you sure about him, honey? She asked me later that night. Of course I'm sure. Why would you ask that? I don't know. Something just feels off about him. Grandma, you barely know him. Maybe that's the problem. In 3 years, how much do any of us really know about Dorian? I brushed off her concerns. I was 23 and thought I knew everything about love. 2 weeks before our wedding, Dorian didn't show up for dinner at Grandma's house. I called his phone over and over, but it went straight to voicemail. The next day a woman called me. Is this Adelise Castor? Yes. Who is this? This is Jennifer Patterson. I think we need to talk about Dorian. My stomach dropped. What about Dorian? He's my husband. We've been married for 6 years. The world seemed to stop spinning. That's impossible. I'm sorry, but it's true. I found your number in his phone. I've been watching him sneak around for months, and I finally figured out who the other woman was. I hung up and called Dorian immediately. This time he answered. Dorian, please tell me this woman is lying. There was a long pause. Adelise. I can explain. Explain what? That you're married. It's complicated. No, it's not complicated. You're married and you proposed to me. I was going to get divorced. I just needed more time. More time. We've been together for 3 years. Jennifer and I have kids together. I couldn't just leave them. Kids. He had kids he'd never mentioned. So what was I to you? Just some fun on the side while you played family man. It wasn't like that, Adelise. I really do love you. If you loved me, you wouldn't have lied to me for 3 years. I hung up and cried for hours. Grandma held me while I sobbed into her shoulder. I'm so sorry, honey. I wish I'd been wrong about him. You knew, didn't you? I suspected something wasn't right, but I hoped I was wrong. A month after Dorian and I broke up, I realized I was pregnant. I stared at the test for 10 minutes, hoping the pink line would disappear. Grandma, I said, walking into the kitchen where she was making tea. I need to tell you something. She took one look at my face and sat down. What is it, honey? I'm pregnant. Grandma was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached over and took my hand. What do you want to do? I want to keep the baby. Then we'll figure it out together. You're not angry with me. Honey, mistakes happen. The important thing is how we handle them. This baby will be lucky to have you as a mother. I called Dorian to tell him about the pregnancy. Are you sure it's mine? Was the first thing he said. Of course I'm sure. I haven't been with anyone else. What do you want me to do about it? I just thought you should know. Well, I can't help you. Jennifer would kill me if she found out about this. I'm not asking for help. I'm just telling you that you're going to have another child. As far as I'm concerned, this conversation never happened. He hung up and I never heard from him again. 8 months later, I gave birth to Seraphine. She was perfect, tiny, healthy, and mine. Grandma was in the delivery room with me, and she cried when the nurse placed Seraphine in my arms. She's beautiful, Adelise. Just beautiful. Mom came to visit when Seraphine was 2 weeks old. She held the baby awkwardly and made polite comments about how cute she was. Have you thought about what you're going to do now? Mas. What do you mean? Well, with the baby and no husband, it's going to be difficult. I'll manage. Maybe you should consider adoption. There are lots of families who want babies. I stared at her. I'm not giving up my daughter. I'm just saying it might be easier. Easier for who? Mom looked uncomfortable. For everyone. Or young. You could still meet someone and have a real family. This is my real family. Grandma spoke up from her chair. Mirinda, Adelise is keeping her baby and that's final. She has my full support. Mom left that afternoon and didn't visit again for months. But Grandma kept her word. She helped with everything. Night feedings, doctor appointments, babysitting when I went back to work. Seraphine grew up calling her Great-Grandma Ellington, and the 3 of us became our own little family. Seraphine was smart from the beginning. She walked early, talked early, and by the time she started school, she was reading chapter books. Teachers always had good things to say about her. She's going to go far, Grandma would say proudly. That girl has brains and determination. And she was right. Seraphine excelled at everything she tried. She graduated high school with honors, got a scholarship to college, and majored in biochemistry. By the time she was 24, she had a good job at a pharmaceutical company and her own apartment. I'm proud of you, baby, I told her at her college graduation. I couldn't have done it without you and Great-Grandma Ellington, she said, hugging both of us tight. Life was good. Simple but good. I had my daughter, my grandmother, and a quiet, peaceful life. I thought things would stay that way forever. But I should have known better. In my experience, peaceful times never lasted long. Grandma Ellington lived to be almost 80 years old. Even in her final months, she was sharp as a tack and still looking out for me. "Adelise, I need to tell you something important," she said one afternoon while we sat on her porch. "I've made arrangements with my lawyer. When I'm gone, everything will be taken care of." "Grandma, don't talk like that. Honey, I'm old. We need to be practical. Here's Mr. Henderson's address. He has all the paperwork." She died peacefully in her sleep 2 weeks later. I found her that morning when I came to check on her, and for a moment she looked like she was just napping. Seraphine and I were devastated. Apart from each other, Grandma was the only real family we'd ever had. After the memorial service at Grandma's house, I just wanted to be left alone to grieve. But Mom had other plans. "Adelise, we need to talk," she said, cornering me in the kitchen. "Not today, Mom. I just buried my grandmother." "That's exactly why we need to talk. You've gotten enough from life. It's time you shared with your brother." I stared at her. "What are you talking about? Kaysen is out of work again. Things are tough for him right now. That's not my problem. He's your brother. Half-brother. And he's out of work because he never wanted to work in the first place." Mom's face got red. "You're saying that on purpose to humiliate him. Grandma Ellington was kind and generous. She wouldn't want you to be greedy and heartless." I realized what this was really about. "You think I'm inheriting something? Well, aren't you? That house, her savings. I don't even know what she left yet. The will hasn't been read. Whatever it is, Kaysen deserves his share. Harlan says we're all family now." The day of the will reading, Seraphine and I went to the lawyer's office expecting it to be just us. But when we walked in, there was Mom with Harlan and Kaysen. Kaysen was 33 now, well-groomed, but with this nasty entitled look on his face. "Well, look who it is," he said when he saw me. "The boring, unbearable sister. What are you doing here, Kaysen?" "Same thing you are, waiting to hear about Grandma Ellington's will. She wasn't your grandmother. She was practically family. Mom took care of her for years." That was a complete lie. Mom barely visited Grandma. "You've always been weird, Adelise," Kaysen continued. "It's amazing Grandma never figured out how stupid you really are." "Get out," I said. "Right now." Kaysen smirked. "I didn't say anything wrong." Seraphine spoke up. "Mom, don't let him talk to you like that. It's disrespectful to great-grandma's memory." The lawyer, Mr. Henderson, cleared his throat and began reading. "I, Mrs. Eleanor Ellington, leave my house and all bank assets to my granddaughter, Adelise Castor." Mom's face went white. "That's it. Nothing for Kaysen. Mrs. Rogers, the will is very clear. This isn't right. Adelise needs to share with Kaysen immediately." "Why should I do that?" "Yes. Because it's the right thing to do. Do you know how hard it's been for me in my second marriage?" Harlan's face darkened at that comment, but it shut Kaysen up completely. Mom grabbed her purse. "Come on, we're leaving." They stormed out, and Seraphine and I were left alone with Mr. Henderson. "I never liked Mom's side of the family," Seraphine said quietly. "You can't trust people like that." 3 weeks later, Mr. Henderson called me. "Adelise, I'm afraid there's been a development. Another will has surfaced." "What do you mean?" "It was found at City Hall. It states that Mrs. Ellington left everything to Miranda Rogers because she was allegedly the only one who truly cared for the elderly woman." I couldn't speak for a moment. "That's impossible." "I agree. We need to contest this immediately." The court battle was a nightmare. Witness after witness testified about how wonderful Mom had been to Grandma. They were all lying, but they sounded convincing. Then I started getting threatening phone calls. "Drop the case or you'll regret it. We know where you live." Accidents happen to people who don't listen. It got so bad I had to involve the police. They eventually caught several of the people making threats, and that's when the truth came out. Kaysen had connections I never knew about. Through his various shady dealings, he'd met some influential people, including a senator's family from Alabama. He also owed money to some very dangerous people, and they were helping him pressure me. But Kaysen and Harlan had made a crucial mistake. As a former police officer, Harlan thought he was smart enough to forge documents without getting caught. He was wrong. My lawyer was brilliant. He found evidence that Harlan and Kaysen had manufactured fake documents to support the second will. Your Honor, my lawyer said in court, we have clear proof that the defendants have committed fraud. Under pressure from the evidence, Harlan and Kaysen couldn't deny it anymore. Harlan stood up in court and said, I've always hated Adelise. I couldn't stand that she inherited from that old lady instead of my son. Why? The judge asked. Because she was never family to me. I only put up with her for Miranda's sake. She doesn't deserve anything. And you think that justifies fraud? I think Kaysen deserves better than he's gotten. I was trying to fix that. I stood up then. Your Honor, I want to make something clear. I will never give a single cent to these people. They're not my family, and they never have been. Harlan looked furious. How dare you? How dare I what? Tell the truth. You spent years making it clear I wasn't wanted. Now you want my inheritance. That's not how it works. Mom tried to speak up, but her lawyer told her to stay quiet. She knew if she said too much, I might refuse to help her too. But it was too late for all of them. The judge found Harlan and Kaysen guilty of fraud. They both got prison sentences, and I kept everything Grandma Ellington had left me. From that day on, I never spoke to the Rogers family again. Last I heard, Mom was struggling to pay bills with both her husband and son in prison. Sometimes people ask if I feel bad about it. You don't. Grandma Ellington was right when she said, some families are chosen, not born. I chose Seraphine and she chose me. That's all the family I need. The Rogers family got exactly what they deserved. Nothing from me, and consequences for their actions. And I finally learned that sometimes the best thing you can do for toxic people is to let them face the results of their own choices.